Awesome. Thank you so much. So as she already said, my name is Rick Miller. I'm a geologist here in Oklahoma City. I work for Lance Ruffle Oil and Gas. We're at office downtown. And also, feel free to ask any questions throughout the presentation. It's relatively a quick and easy presentation. I'll go through some kind of overview of what the library has, and then we'll dive into our kind of digital library demonstration. So we've pretty much made some efforts over the years to put everything that's in the geologic library into a digital format. And so most all the data that you can find in the physical library is now online. You can access it from anywhere in the world just by logging in and seeing all the well data in Oklahoma for the most part, and then also in Texas districts 9 and 10. So kind of jumping in here, we've scanned over 2 million documents into the digital library, and that number is growing by, I believe, a couple hundred a day. We have electric logs across Oklahoma and Texas districts 9 and 10. These are both in the physical and digital library. We're proud to say we have the largest collection of mud logs in the state. So those are both in the physical and digital library. We get a lot of donations from private companies and things of that nature. So that's what gives us that robust collection of those. We do have production books. For those unfamiliar, these are really essential for production prior to 1975. That's about when the commercial data services start having good production records, is around that year. So anything before that, it's not to say that commercial services don't have it. It's just that it may be inaccurate or they may not have it. So if you're looking in old oil fields or things of that nature, it's really essential to have that old production. And we're working on getting that all scanned into the digital library at this time. We also have Herndon maps, Laughlin-Simmons maps, topographic maps, all kinds of geologic maps. These are located in the physical library. We do plan on getting these digitized down the road, but right now we're focused on getting the logs and the production books in more so because those are more of what our members are using. Strip logs, scout cards, DSTs, core reports, specialty logs, all these different things that are very important for information on wells. Those are going to be located both in the physical and digital library. So just for those unfamiliar, if you are familiar, I apologize, but we're going to go through just kind of some of the basics of what some of this data is and what information it contains. So we do have a large collection of scout cards, both in the physical and digital library. And these pretty much give you all the information that you need about a well. When it was drilled, the name of it, the location, the operator, how deep they went, did they make any production tests, was it a dry hole, did they run any DSTs? All that kind of stuff is going to be located on the scout cards. In my day-to-day, I usually go through scout cards pretty much every day to see what wells in our area or what around our prospects, what they've done and what they've tested. So these are a few examples of some. This one down in the bottom right is an example of a more modern one, and these others are a little older. You can see there are different formats in each one. Some, like this one on the top right, just seem to list off all the information in one big paragraph. This top left is a little more organized. You can see that you have general well information at the top. You have the tests here in the middle. You have casing, perforations, and then over here on the right, you even have the geologic formation tops that are usually picked by the geologist after the drilling of the well. So these are pretty much just the go-to for all information you need about a specific well. Next, we have wireline logs and mud logs. So wireline logs are going to be pretty much a proxy for rock properties downhole. So for example, you have your neutron log over here. This is going to measure hydrogen within the formation, which then can be an indicator for porosity, et cetera, et cetera. There's induction logs, all kinds of different wireline logs. And these are what geologists and engineers and oil people in general use pretty much on a daily basis to correlate formations or to look at the properties of the rock or to prospect, all that kind of stuff. These are extremely important in oil and gas exploration. And then mud log, an example of a mud log over here on the right, where this is going to be done while the well is being drilled. So you're going to have a description of your samples of what are coming up from the hole, what they look like. You're going to have a gas detector in most cases where you can see if the gas jumps up through a certain formation. And then you also have usually an indication of oil shows or other shows that they encountered while drilling the well. Herndon maps. So these are going to be, these are generally pretty old maps. They're not going to be updated after a certain year. I can't remember off the top of my head what year that they stopped being updated, but these are great when you're working in an old area or you want to find an old well that maybe a commercial service doesn't show on their maps. Back in the day, there was a lot of wells. You see those old pictures of oil fields where there's just rig after rig after rig. Sometimes not every single well drilled in those fields was accounted for. So these are going to be really good and useful information. They also show how deep the well went, and they actually give some subsea depths of formations in the well as well. Laughlin-Simmons maps. These are going to be really similar to the Herndons. Again, for the most part, what people in the modern day use these for are locating old wells. So that could be for, trying to plug abandoned wells throughout the state, looking for potential sources of methane leaks, or in oil and gas exploration. Maybe you're looking at a prospect and you just want to double check and make sure. And let's say your prospect's right here in section 16, and maybe it's right here in the east side. And then you realize, oh, there's a few wells drilled there. And maybe the commercial services didn't have those wells on there, but they had the bulk of this field in there. Production books. So here's what these generally look like. This is Advanced Row Reports. This one specifically is Southwestern Oklahoma. As I said before, these are really vital for production prior to 1975 or 1970, when commercial services really started picking up and keeping track of production of these wells, because before that, this was the standard. So you can see here they're organized by field. So here we have Cotton County. You have this Randlet South field. It will tell you how many wells are in that field. And then other bits of information, but for the most part at the end, you're going to see your cumulative production over here on the far right. We've definitely ran into cases in my job where we're looking at an old field. The commercial service says, okay, it made, let's say 100,000 barrels. It's like, okay, well, and then you go back and check the book and you realize, well, there was actually 500,000 barrels that they made before 1970 that wasn't being accounted for afterwards. And again, not to knock the commercial services or anything, generally they do have some up-to-date information, or they may have a cum starting at that date, but we've seen on plenty of occasions where they don't. So that's where these are very useful. And like I said, we're trying to get these onto the digital library so that they could be in a downloadable format to put into any software or for you to use as you please. So what can you do with all this data that I'm talking about? Well, for one, you can just find out information about specific wells. So you can look at the location of the well, how deep they drilled, tests that they did, et cetera, et cetera. You can prospect with this information. So you can analyze all available data, the logs, the scout tickets, the maps, and you can try to find oil, gas, water, helium, lithium. You can kind of look for anything. You can evaluate marginally producing wells for uphole or offset potential. So, maybe you're just getting started and you want to go try to see if you can just buy an old well for very cheap that's not producing. You see something on the log that may produce, and then you can get started from there and go grab that well and try to make some money on that. And then other than that, you can search for and locate abandoned wells. So, these, like I said before, these are essential data points in exploration projects. And then, kind of newer efforts through government and other parties today are to find these abandoned wells that nobody plugged because they're probably leaking methane, and that's not great. And we don't want that in our environment. So this is a great way to get started and see where some of these abandoned wells might be. So here we're going to kind of jump into the demonstration phase. So I am going to jump back and forth a little bit here. If you get confused, just let me know. If I can get out of this full screen. There we go. So here is, let me take a step back right here. So here's the homepage for our website. The website is going to be mcglonline.com. So that is where you'll go, and then you can sign in here at the bottom. And if you're a member, you can put in your email address and password and sign in just regularly. We also allow guest access. So if you want to just go look at the site and you want to see if there's anything that may be of interest to you in a certain area, you can create a new account. You can sign up as a guest. And then what you can do from there is you can search a certain area, see what documents we have available. You will not be able to view them or download them or anything like that. You'll just see what we have. And then from there, decide if you want to get a membership or not. So let me get signed in here, and this is going to be the first page that you see once you get signed in. Here's this just talking about the sign up fee or the sign up. You just kind of put in a little bit of information about yourself and sign in. So here we'll jump straight into using the document search page. So up at the top is going to be the filter bar, which I'll show you in just a second. You're going to have your search button. You'll have an enable map feature, which we'll talk about more a little bit in the presentation. And then you'll have, once you search for a certain area, you'll have your list of documents, which we'll go through in just a second. So this specific search is in section 6 of 13 North, 14 West. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go to section. I'm going to hit section 6. Go down to 13 North, 14 West. And then I'm just going to hit search. And that's going to pull up what information for what wells we have in that section. Looks like there's 3 wells in this section. The crawl, the Tarrant, and the Deal. So we have API over on the left, operator, section, township, range, the name of the well, the number of the well, and then a well spot over here as well. So from there, we're going to jump over into viewing a document. So let me look at which one has a good amount of data. Okay, so here is this well has a resistivity log, a density log, and a scout ticket. So you're going to click in the order that you would like to view the documents. So if I want to see the resistivity log first, I'm going to click resistivity, then density, and then the scout ticket. And this is typically when I'm using the website every day, this is how I use it in that order. You go over and click the magnifying glass on the bottom right that I kind of just did quickly. Let me show you that real quick. So you're going to click your documents. You're going to come click either preview or download. So if you hit download, it will add them to your cart. We'll talk about this a little more later on. So you can download them and put them into software, or maybe you just want a hard copy for yourself. But with your membership, you get unlimited viewing of documents on the website. So then you're going to hit preview if you want to just look at them. It's going to reload because I clicked it twice. And then voila, your documents are going to pop up on the screen. And so each one will have its own scroll bar. So you can come down here, see what zone of interest they went for. Looks like this isn't a very big log. It looks like they logged just a small portion of this well. So you'll come down. You can line up your resistivity and density logs at depth. So you can see we're at 11,800. So you're going to line those up at depth, and then you can come over here and move them around with the cursor as well. And that way you can see what you're looking at side by side. And then you also have all the information about this well over here. So it looks like this one in specifically was a dry hole. They didn't cut any cores. They didn't do any DSTs. So pretty straightforward there. And that's how easy it is to use the site and to view our documents with just 3 clicks of a button. Over here on this page right here, you can have up to 4 documents at a time. And that can be 4 scout tickets, 4 logs, a combination of those 2 things, but up to 4 on the screen at once. This is just kind of talking about, so this is 2 different mud logs. One's a horizontal portion of the well, and one's the vertical portion of the well, and just showing that you can have both of those up at the same time. And so now we'll jump into getting our search a little more advanced and finding specific documents. So this right here is going to search for Alfalfa County. They're not putting in any township, section, township, or range, and then they're just putting document type mud log. And then, so we'll come over here and do the same. We will reset our search over here on the right, reset. So now we're empty, county, alfalfa, document type. And just to show you what we've got on here, we have caliper logs, cased hole logs, computer logs, combo logs. The list is pretty big, so I'm not going to go through every single one, but I'll just kind of slowly scroll through this. We do have some LAS curves, which is digital log curves. So if you're looking for those, we do have some available. And anything we don't have available that you would like digitized, we have a partner that will digitize those for you for a nominal fee. But here we are at Mudlog. We'll come down and click Mudlog. Then we'll come over and hit search. And then boom, you have every mudlog in Alfalfa County that the MCGL has. And again, just to simply go through it, click the well, you'll see that we have resistivity, density, as well as mudlogs for this well. So maybe you want to see the resistivity, the density, and the mudlog together. And then let's just throw the scout ticket on there for fun. Hit that magnifying glass. Wait for the documents to render. And then boom, there you go. I'm sure it's a little hard to read on your end, but at least on my end, these documents are very clear and easy to read. This is an older mudlog, so some of those you may have to hit the zoom function up here to zoom in and read some of those sample descriptions. But for the most part, most of our documents are scanned at a high quality. I would say that this log itself is probably a lower quality copy in the first place, so it just scanned in how it looks in real life. And there you go. You can look at every piece of information for that well at the click of a button. All right. There's also keyword searches, so operator name, well name as examples. So we'll come over here. We will, looks like they're looking for Sentinel Petroleum, reset. Sentinel. I won't even put the petroleum, and then just hit search. And then you got all this Sentinel operator, and then you might even have some well names that are Sentinel in here somewhere that would also come up in that search. So very easy to search for any information you're looking for. It's very straightforward. There's not 30 things to make an advanced search. It's really just a few things to find whatever you're looking for. So you can have, I won't go through this one specifically, but you can look at a history of your searches. That way if you were looking at something, you forgot where you were looking, you can go to your history and find it. The search button is, of course, once you've already put something in there. We do have this corrections tab up at the top. We are working to make this a little more user-friendly, but for the most part, you hit corrections. Let's say something's in the wrong place or in the wrong section, township, and range, for example. Maybe it's 18 north, 2 east, but our website has it in 18 north, 2 west. We're human, mistakes happen. Sometimes these things get filtered wrong. You just describe the problem in detail. So that's what we're working to make a little easier, to make it a little, so you don't have to put as much detail. But for right now, you'd have to describe, this well and API is located in 18 north, 2 east on the website, and it needs to be moved to 18 north, 2 west, and then you just click submit, and that will go straight to our technology group so they can work on that issue and get it resorted for future people to not run into the same issue. There is a help menu where you can basically go and look at all this and then reset, as you've already seen me press, just resets your whole search. And then your selections, of course, are down here that we've gone through already. So now we're going to jump through exploring the map. So our website does have a map attached to it, which really helps on things when you're looking for something in a specific, let's say there's a section that has 50 wells in it, and you're looking at all these well names and there's 8 Smith wells. Well, you can come over here and use the map function, as we'll do in just a second, and zoom into that section specifically and see what they've got. So I'm just going to copy what's up here. This is Armstrong County, Texas. Well, I'm going to actually use Oklahoma. So we will just reset our search. I'm going to go to Alfalfa County. I'm going to hit the mud logs again, just to keep that simple. Going to hit search. The mud logs in Alfalfa County are kind of come up. Then I'm over here. I'm going to hit enable map at the top right. And then you can filter on some other things like this. You do have to excuse me, I'm on a laptop, so it's kind of small. This looks way different on a desktop. You can drag it out to here to make the map a little bigger. And then you're going to zoom in on Alfalfa County, and you're going to see 252 documents in that county. And then as you keep zooming in, more layers are going to render into the map. So you see it kind of happening slowly. I'm trying to get us zoomed in here. This happens way faster on my desktop, by the way. I'm on a 2013 Mac. So these blue lines are going to be your townships. These pink lines are going to be your sections. And it's taken a little bit of time, but generally this will render into actual well spots. So I just got to find a township that has the well spots with mud logs. Here we go. So there's 13 in this township. They're going to start rendering here pretty soon. And then these little blue dots are going to be the wells that have those mud logs. So you have a whole section township range map. You can see where each of these, so this is essentially just all this data here on the left side projected onto the map. So let's zoom in here. Okay, so I've got this well in section 22. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click on the well. And so then it's going to give me the name. This is the Shobe well. Operator was Tenneco, the #1. It has the API and everything. And then you can use that information to come over here and find that specific well that you're looking for. This is another thing that we'd like to advance down the road to where if you click this, maybe there's a little more detail that could come up, or maybe it can jump you automatically to the well on the left side, but those things cost money. And so it's a slow process getting these websites built. So moving on. So we've already talked about this a little bit, but I'll go through it real quick. This is between the preview and the download button. So like we said before, you select the documents you want, you come over here, you either hit preview or download. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next slide here. So that's going to bring up this page. So let's say I want this well, I want the resistivity, the density, the mud log. I'm going to hit add to cart. I'm now going to go up to my cart. And then I have those things in my cart and I'm able to purchase them. So currently I have 13 items in my cart. So I know you see $43. That's for all 13 of whatever items I have in my cart. We charge $4 per TIFF image or log, and then $1 for any scout ticket that you might want. And for those unfamiliar, $4 is about less than a third of the price that a commercial service would charge you. So let's say TGS is a really big one. They generally charge $15 per raster. So, this is a very cheap way to get information that you can pull out. You have a TIFF image. You can put it into Petra or Geographics or other geologic softwares, or just have the image in a file so you can have it. Okay, well, that kind of concludes the whole digital library. I know that's short and sweet, but I always just like to joke and say that because the library is so user-friendly and so easy to use, it sure makes this talk a lot easier to go through. So if you're interested in membership with the MCGL, please contact Michelle Hone at mhone@mcgllibrary.org. The cost of the digital library only membership is $1,000 per 6 months, or $2,000 a year. For anybody that may be shell-shocked by that, I can promise you that this is thousands upon thousands of dollars cheaper than going through any large commercial service for your data. they're going to want to charge you $10,000 a year for a license to one thing, and then you need 2 other licenses to something else, and it really adds up pretty quickly. This is the most cost-effective way to look at well data in Oklahoma. If you'd like to be a member of the full library, which means you can visit our physical library in Edmond, it's off 33rd and Broadway, in the same kind of complex as that Charleston's, for anybody who's familiar with that area. But you're able to visit there, and with the full library membership, it also includes the digital. So for an extra $500 a year, you can use the physical library where we have maps laid out. We have copy machines, we have scanners, we have workstations where you can actually use Petra and geographics for included in your membership, so no extra cost there. And just for reference, you know, Petra for one is, I think, $7,000 a year. Geographics, I want to say, is 10. So you can use those softwares that are compatible with the library stuff in there, included in your membership. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time, but if not, that concludes this talk.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions or demonstrations that you need repeated or anything like that. And just feel free to unmute and turn on your video if you'd like, however you'd like to do it. Tim said, great presentation, Rick.
Thanks, Tim. All right, well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come see this today. Hopefully I've shown you a great cost-effective way that you can come get some data in Oklahoma. And you know, we'd be happy to have you guys as members.
Hold on, we might have a question here. Oh, nope. People were just saying that it was amazing to have all this data together. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys, well, that wraps it up. Be on the lookout for my email. I've included Michelle's information, so if you have any questions, you can reach out to her. Other than that, have a great day, and thank you to Rick again for helping us host this workshop. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.